Today I will talk about designing of a hospital. This is part of my series of lectures on hospital management. This is my lecture outline. First I will give general considerations. Then I will talk about design brief in general. Then I will talk about working drawing, master plan and aesthetic brief. Then I will talk about in detail hospital interiors. Then I will talk about architect brief, and finally, very briefly about hospital layout. So, general considerations. Energy conservation during construction of hospital building include utilization of natural light, utilization of renewable energy sources, use of high efficiency light sources, effective ventilation, easy maintainability, energy recycling, use of non-toxic and non-allergic materials in building, facility for rainwater harvesting, scientific waste disposal, and regular energy audit. Then, briefly on intelligent building. In an intelligent building, there is switching off and on of lights, fans, security area lighting, and air conditions. Adjustment of air conditioners according to local conditions. Activation of motion detection only during night. Balance of artificial and natural light. Controlled access by identity card or biometric authentication. Then about earthquake resistant design. The factors include restraining of non-structural components to limit differential movement between them and building structure. Keep mechanical, example piping, and electrical system crossing seismic joints to a minimum. And if possible, restrict these crossings to lower stories. We can use expansion loops at crossings. Use reinforced and pre-stressed concrete and ductile steel. Hospital building should have simple shape like square or rectangle. We should avoid concentration of mass at higher floors and use of base isolation technique. We should keep future in mind. We should design in such a way to ensure cost-effective maintenance later on. We should keep in mind flexibility and expandability by using modular design. A golden architecture principle of indeterminacy should be adopted. There should be barrier-free environment for disabled patients and staff and family members. Now about design brief in general. Advantages of a good design brief include saving a designer a lot of time and sanity, set expectations of both parties. A good brief or good design brief set expectations of both the parties. It keeps both sides accountable to deadlines. It helps to scale the design. It helps development of trust between parties. It provides a point of reference if required later on. Definition of design brief. Design brief is a written document that outlines everything from project objectives and milestones to end deliverables. So client may design brief. Client may take help of experts in making design brief. and it is transmitted to the designer, for example, an architecture. Then an architecture on the basis of design brief and in consulting the client make an architect brief. I'll talk about architect brief in later part of this lecture. And what are the contents of a design brief? It includes project scope, that is resources needed and available, milestones, deliverables, intended outcome of project and budget. Then it includes end goals and end deliverables. It includes task owners and stakeholders. They should be responsible, accountable, they should be consulted and informed. Design brief include timelines and deadlines, which include project start date, major milestones, feedback exchange dates, and final deadline. Design brief include target audience of the end product. And in our case of hospital building, the target audience are our patients and family members. Then design brief include assets available to designer, example, fonts, logos, etc. This is in context of web designing. Then design brief should include company details and competitor analysis. It should include benchmarks, and it should also include level of creativity allowed by the designer. Then very brief about working drawing, master plan, and aesthetic brief. Following drawings are included in working drawing, that is architectural drawing, building structural drawing, mechanical parts like plumbing, medical gases, sewerage, and ventilation system. Electrical and firefighting. Firefighting include fire detection as well as firefighting system and communication system. So the working drawing include drawing of all these parts. Then master plan include hospital design brief, followed by hospital architect brief, then aesthetic brief and planning for growth and change. Then aesthetic brief. Aesthetic is a branch of philosophy concerning studies on the nature and expression of beauty or taste. And this is very important nowadays while designing a hospital. Then let us see in little detail about hospital interiors. Hospital interiors include flooring, ramp, stairs, lift, doors, windows, surface material, walls, and ceiling. Flooring should facilitate easy cleaning. It should be non-slippery when wet, and laboratory flooring should be acid and alkali resistant, and flooring should be conducive to movement of objects such as trolleys and wheelchairs. These should be kept in mind while designing a hospital. Then ramp should have a minimum width of 1.6 meters with a gradient of 1:12 to 20. Handrail should be at the height of 0.9 meters as well as 0.5 meters. Stairs should have risers of 0.15 meters and treads of 0.3 meters. Stairs should have a non-skid surface, and handrail should extend beyond first and last step for people with leg braces. There should be a passenger lift along with the other lift. Then lift should be capable of accepting patients on bed. Lift must have attendants while in operation, and lift must be fitted with emergency equipment. Doors should have a width of at least 90 centimeters and a level space of at least 152 centimeters should extend about 45 centimeters on either side of room for specially abled patients and staff. Other surfaces, textured or moisture retaining surfaces should be avoided. We should avoid inaccessible areas which cannot be easily accessed for cleaning. So surface should be seamless, especially in areas like operation theater and intensive care unit. Surfaces should be smooth and impervious, and they should be easy to clean. Wall, similar to surfaces, textured or moisture retaining surfaces to be avoided. So these are the points which are very similar to the surfaces. Then corners of wall should be protected against physical damage by trolleys and beds. Electrical plugs and switches should be in flush with wall to facilitate cleaning. Space programming include measurements like department net square footage, department gross square footage, building gross square footage. So department net square footage plus circulation factor, which is usually 30 to 40% above DNSF, is department's gross square footage. And department's gross square footage plus circulation factor, that is usually 25% over and above DGSF, is building gross square footage. Then other calculations. So for a bed, we require a space of 8 meters square around it. And the total hospital space per bed, excluding staff housing, is 70 meters square. These are the other requirements. Water requirement is about 500 liters per bed per day. Sewerage output is 400 liters per bed per day, approximately. Solid waste generated is 1 kg per bed per day, of which 10% is usually biomedical waste. Electricity consumption is 3 to 9 kilowatt per bed per day. For firefighting, we need 2 lakh liters of water for a 500 bedded hospital. With regard to central AC, for a 500 tons of chiller plant, we require 1 lakh liters of water. And we should have water storage facility for 3 days if only one source of water is there. And we can store for 1 day if we have 2 sources of water for a hospital. Fittings in building include plumbing, and polyethylene is recommended material. Fittings include drainage. Fittings include fire detection system and firefighting system. Fittings include fittings for medical gases. Then it includes indoor air quality and ventilation system. Fittings include electric fittings and communication system like internet and telephone connections. Then about architect brief. Architect brief is a written expression of client's need as expressed in consultation with various professionals, that is architect and engineers, explaining architecture of hospital, operation policies, types of services to be provided, interrelationship and interdependency of each department. So this is much more than a building design. Steps in making architect brief. These are the steps. So we should have a planning team which include hospital consultant, general administrator, an architect, engineers, and senior nursing member. We should do data collection, data on geographic information, that is area, population density, ratio of urban to rural population. Data on social and demographic details, that is age and gender distribution, economic data, morbidity and mortality data, seasonal variation of population, population shifts and travel means. Inventory of existing medical resources, that is gaps and overlap between various medical resources available to the community. Evaluation of risk and benefits. Hospital location decision include market factors, time taken to travel to hospital, that is road connectivity. Location should be free from potential natural disasters like earthquake and floods, and even noises like airport area. There should be facilities like water supply, electric supply, and sewerage facility while considering hospital location decision. Then functional plan is made. Specialists of concerned specialty decide the location of specialty, services to be provided, space requirement, fixed furniture, equipment, manpower required, spatial ambience if required, workflow pattern, traffic flow, and communication system. Then bed needs of the population. First of all, we calculate bed index, which is equal to inpatient load per thousand population divided by 365 multiplied by bed occupancy. And this fraction is multiplied by average length of stay. Then hospital beds should be total population multiplied by bed index divided by 1000. And we should increase the number of beds calculated by this formula, as hospital beds is equal to beds calculated by this formula multiplied by 3 times the square root of bed occupancy. Total hospital size, as we have seen, total hospital space per bed should be 70 meters square. This is excluding staff housing. Then hospital size hence is equal to number of beds multiplied by 70 meters square. We should have a provision for parking space. We need at least 1.5 parking space per bed. Then architect brief include the write-up of architect brief include introduction, which include mission of healthcare facility, site information, that is landmarks, nearest city airport, boundaries, topography, existing utilities, weather information. Functional content include various departments and sections, details of departments, traffic flow and relation between various departments of hospital. Workload, that is timing of various departments and expected peak load. Staffing, that is number of staff at various positions. Equipment, number of various equipments required. Policies and procedures related to patient and staff, related to outsourced services, and related to infection control. Then schedule of accommodation, that is departmental space. Then it includes zoning, that is grouping of departments, and some of the zones of hospital include inpatient area, outpatient area, emergency services area, community and ambulatory care area, diagnostic services area, support services area, including dietary, laundry, housekeeping, medical gases, store and central supply, and administrative area. So these are various zones of a typical hospital. Then financial aspects include cost of project, cost of construction, cost of furnishing, cost of equipment, and finally sources of funds. Then very briefly about hospital layout. I have made this diagram of a typical hospital. There should be entry for separate entry for mortuary and separate entry for emergency and separate entry for OPD section, and preferably separate entry for administration and separate entry for supporting services. So these are the location of various facilities, and these arrows, they are describing or illustrating the hospital traffic. So there is traffic between various departments, and we should arrange various sections depending on the traffic. These are the operation theaters which are required. One is cesarean OT, gynecology OT, surgery OT, orthopedic OT, ophthalmology OT, NT-OT, neurosurgery OT, and other OT depending on the services provided by the hospital. So this is all for today. Thank you very much.